Chapter 10. Dork in Disguise. Jerry strutted onto the school grounds Friday morning. His cool walk was becoming so natural to him now that it only took 4 steps to get him warmed up. Jerry stopped by Mr. Hooten's room early. His teacher's eyes widened when he saw him. "How did you get that shiner, Jerry?" he asked. "I had a rollerblading accident," Jerry said. "Ouch!" Jerry told him he wouldn't be joining the science team. "I'm sorry to hear that," Mr. Hooten said. "If there's a problem with transportation, we could arrange for a carpool amongst the pairs. Maybe Mrs. Robertson and I could help too." Jerry felt a stab of guilt. Thanks, but that isn't the problem," he said. I just don't think I'll have time." "Well, okay," Mr. Hooten said. "We'll miss you. You would have been a valuable addition to the team." He smiled, and Jerry almost changed his mind on the spot. He forced himself to think of Cinnamon, her red hair and clear blue eyes. "Thanks," Jerry said. "Maybe next year." Mr. Hooten laughed. "I think our 6th grade competitors would take a dim view of having a 7th grader on the team." Oh yeah, a lump formed in his stomach. This would be his last chance to be on the science team. But he'd make his decision. "Well," he said, looking at the floor, "see you." Jerry hurried down the hall to his locker and pulled out the books for his morning classes. If only there was a way so that he could be cool and be on the science team. Craig appeared, leaned against the next locker, and grinned. "Cool shiner, Flack." "I heard about the carnival," Jerry said. "Cinnamon said we'd all go together." Craig grinned. "Yeah, it's pretty cool." Cinnamon said everyone will be there. "You mean everybody cool will be there?" Jerry grinned. "Everybody cool, of course." Cinnamon, Robin, and Gabe appeared. "Look at that shiner," Robin whooped. Cinnamon grinned. "Hey, Flack," Robin said. "Cinnamon told me you're going to the carnival with us. You haven't lived till you have been to this fall carnival." "Sounds cool," Jerry said. "Are you girls walking to language arts now?" "Sure," Cinnamon said. "Come on." Cinnamon and Robin strolled next to Jerry while he strutted down the hall. The girls hadn't even invited Gabe, who was also in the class. They just left him standing there with Craig. Jerry decided that was a very good sign. Several 6th graders turned to watch them. Jerry loved it. He wasn't sure they were wishing they could join this cool threesome. Yes, he thought, he'd made the right choice. The science team could never be as much fun as this. Brenda looked up when Jerry walked in with Cinnamon and Robin. She smiled at him. "Hi, Flack," she said as he sat down behind her. "That eye sure looks bad." "Thanks." Brenda leaned in, grinning, and began to sing very quietly. "Happy birthday to me, happy birthday to me." "It's your birthday today?" Jerry asked, grinning at her. She continued to smile. "Yes, indeedly. Happy birthday, Brenda." "Thanks. My best present was a new computer game. You want to come over after school and play it with me?" "What game is it?" "Alien Abductors. It's really cool. See, these aliens are coming to Earth and abducting kids, and I've heard that's an awesome game," Jerry said. "Yeah, I'll walk home with you." Brenda beamed. "Great. See you at lunch." "Yeah, see you." Jerry stopped at his locker before lunch, dropped off his morning books, and picked up the afternoon books and notebooks. "What's new, Jerry?" He turned to see Cinnamon standing next to him. His heart leaped and grinned. "None of your business." Cinnamon burst out laughing. "You're so funny, Jerry." She leveled her clear blue eyes at him. "Did you write a song last night?" "I worked on one." "What's the name of it?" "Wait till it's finished," Jerry said, smiling slyly. "Then I'll let you see it." She gave him a playful shove. "You're so mean, keeping me in suspense." "It won't be long," he said, breathless that she'd touched him. "You going down to lunch?" "Yep." She walked alongside him down the stairs toward the cafeteria. Once her arm brushed his and he nearly jumped out of his skin. He'd never felt that kind of thrill before. It was even better than the shove she'd given him. If this had been one of those corny Broadway musicals his mother liked to listen to, he would have burst into song at the moment. Her arm touched mine, and I felt so divine, and I knew in a flash that she soon would be mine. The first person they saw inside the cafeteria was Gabe Marshall. "Hi, Gabe," Cinnamon called, and twiddled her fingers at him. Great, Jerry thought. There are probably 200 kids in the cafeteria right now, and we have to run into Gabe Marshall. Gabe swaggered over and stood next to Cinnamon. "What's new?" she asked. "Nothin'." Jerry smiled at himself. At least he had a funny answer to that question that made Cinnamon laugh. He wondered if Cinnamon noticed that Gabe's answer wasn't as good as his. Jerry looked up slightly at Gabe. For the first time, he noticed that Gabe was about an inch taller than he was. He hoped Cinnamon hadn't noticed. He took a step towards Cinnamon and stood as tall as his spine was stretched. "Did you know that Jerry writes songs?" Cinnamon asked Gabe. Gabe glanced at Jerry. "No, I didn't." "And he's working on a new one," Cinnamon said. Jerry smiled at her. "I think it's one of my best." Craig appeared next to Jerry. "Get in line, Marshall. I'm starved. Hey, Flack, come and sit with us." Jerry walked with Craig, Gabe, and Cinnamon through the lunch line, picked up his food, and sat at Gabe's table with Craig and Tony. Cinnamon left to eat with Robin and Carrie. "So who's going to the carnival with us?" Craig asked. "I don't care," Gabe said, "as long as Cinnamon's going." Jerry stopped chewing and stared at Gabe. Gabe turned to Jerry and gave him a meaningful look. "I think she likes me." Craig laughed loudly. "She practically drools over you, Marshall." Gabe grinned directly at Jerry. "Yeah, she does, doesn't she?" "But," Craig said, "she was real impressed with Flack's rollerblading. You see her touch his face after he hit the tree? Ooh, I thought she might kiss him." "Yeah, right," Gabe said sarcastically. "She called me," Jerry said casually, "to see how I was doing." Gabe's eyebrows shot up. "She called you?" "Yeah," Jerry said. He shrugged, watching Gabe. "She's nice." Gabe stabbed viciously at the meatball on the top of his spaghetti. A little voice in Jerry's head cautioned him to be quiet, but he kept rattling on. "I'm writing a song that I think she'll like. She says she can't wait for me to finish it. It's called Cinnamon." "Is that right?" Gabe said. He glared at Jerry, and Jerry saw the muscles tighten in his jaw. There was a long, tense silence. Craig did the only talking during the rest of lunch. Gabe sat stone silent and angry, and Jerry shoved the spaghetti down his throat, not tasting it at all, and wishing he hadn't said what he said. Only Tony seemed to notice. He sat quietly and glanced back and forth between Jerry and Gabe. Jerry did not need a war with Gabe. Sure, Cinnamon seemed to like Jerry a lot, but he had also talked about Gabe's dreamy hair, and she called him sexy. Jerry wondered if maybe he should have let Brenda make the sexy tears in his jeans just below the pockets. Brenda, that's what he remembered. He'd said see her at lunch. He was supposed to sit with her today. It was her birthday. He half stood and looked out over the blurry sea of faces in the cafeteria. He spotted her right away, sitting with the fuzzy man, Henley sisters, and Aubrey Lane. Jerry couldn't see her clearly, but he could tell that she was talking with her friends. "I gotta go," Jerry said. He stepped over the bench, headed directly to Brenda's table, and sat backwards in the empty space next to her. "Hey," Brenda, he said. "I'm sorry I didn't eat with you, especially since it's your birthday." Brenda glanced at him. "It's okay," she said, and shrugged. She turned back to the Henley sisters. "Anyway, I thought the movie was great." Kat Henley rolled her eyes. "It was a horrible story. I hate sad endings." Jerry leaned in closer. "I don't know how it happened. I just forgot about having lunch with you. See, Cinnamon stopped at my locker, and as soon as we walked in here, we saw Gabe." Brenda turned to him and frowned. "I told you, Flack, it's all right, so forget it, okay? Just drop it." She turned her back on him and started up her conversation again. Jerry could tell that Brenda was ticked off. And why wouldn't she be? She'd helped him tear his jeans, worked on the strut with him, and given him great advice on how to be cool. She'd been a good friend. And then he forgot to sit with her at lunch on her birthday. The bell rang, and everyone got up and started for the door. "Wait," he said. Brenda turned to him impatiently. "What already? I really am sorry." She sighed. It's all right. I'll get over it. It's not a big deal. Really. See you later." She gave him a little wave and walked away with Kim, Kat, and Aubrey. Jerry stood and watched her go and felt a space hollow out in his chest. He hoped he hadn't blown it with Brenda. She was about the nicest person he'd met since moving to Spencer Lake, and he didn't want to lose her.